guys? This is GK Cooking in the Kitchen, back with another episode. Today we are going to be cooking up pulled pork. I'm going to show you how to make that really easy, real simple. We're going to throw that over the top of chilaquiles. If you don't know what chilaquiles is, it's essentially a Mexican version of breakfast nachos. It's really good. All right, as always, Rachel Ray style, we got our compostable bucket right here. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually cook this pork in the crock pot. So, to start out, go ahead and turn that on high because we're gonna be throwing in all the ingredients here pretty soon. First off though, I am gonna throw that down really hard and make some loud noises. Gotta get this pork fat off. We're gonna slow cook it for about, I don't know, 7 hours or so. So, real simple too, because you can literally just throw it in the crock pot like I'm gonna show you, go to work, do whatever you gotta do, and literally come back later on, and you got yourself a pulled pork. It's that simple. And this pork is already so fatty, as you can see. You can see the marbling in there. It's a very fatty pork. This is a pork butt roast. So we're gonna whip up our seasoning for this pork. What I'm gonna do is just eyeball about a tablespoon or so of fresh cumin. We're gonna drop about the same amount, about a tablespoon of paprika. Gotta get my favorite, the Sicilian seasoning. About a tablespoon of that. And then hit it with some garlic. Just kinda eyeball that as well. We're just gonna douse this thing with it. I'll just cover it, rub that in. And then I'm gonna season the other side whenever I get it in the pan. Get ourselves some oil. You can see just how hot that pan is. We're just gonna drop this bad boy in. This is a bone-in roast too, so a lot of the, Yeah, that was fun. Put this other side with the seasoning. Give that probably 2 to 3 minutes on each side, just to get a nice crisp on it. Bobby filet would be, again, just super stoked, because I'm so good at this. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, man. Got the 3 celery stalks here. Chop off the ends. I'm just gonna chop these guys in half. Go ahead and throw them in there. Boom, just like that. I'm gonna utilize half the onion for this. Let that boy chop. And the other part of the onion is gonna be utilized for our Verde salsa that we're gonna be throwing over the top of the chilaquiles later on. Don't even need to be precise about it, honestly, because it's just going in there for the flavor mainly, for the pulled pork. Throw it in. We're gonna do 1 lime in here. Squeeze that over the top. Gonna get ourselves about 3 or 4 cloves of garlic. Super easy way for garlic is just to pop them down just like that. And then the peeling literally comes right off. Give them a rough chop, just like this, because they are gonna be going in there and they're gonna be cooking down for about 6 hours as well. So you're not even gonna be able to see these by the time we get done with this thing. So I'm just gonna drop these in there just like that. Boom. Rough chop. We are going to flip it on the other side now. Oh, look at that guy. You hear that? Got ourselves our, where are we from?
Texas.
We're from Texas. So we're using Texas barbecue sauce. I'm gonna use about half of this in there. This is gonna be like a Texas infusion, kind of like Tex-Mex style chilaquiles. So we're gonna actually make ourselves a little drizzle out of this later on that we're gonna throw over the top of the chilaquiles. So for now, we are gonna use about half of this. That's perfect, right? We gotta sear it up on those 3 main sides. Go ahead and lay this guy in there, just like this. Check this out. Boom! How's that look? I wanna utilize this grease as well. We'll throw these seasonings in here as well as the barbecue sauce. Go ahead and get it a couple tablespoons of paprika, just like that. Do another tablespoon of cumin. This stuff's pretty strong, so 1 solid tablespoon, a tablespoon or so of this stuff right here. It's that Sicilian blend. Garlic, of course. I'm actually gonna throw one of these in there. It's a vegetable bouillon cube as well. You ready? Boom! Just like that, we're good to go, dropping it. Barbecue sauce right here. Just start dousing it with that. So we're gonna fill it up almost to the rim where it's covering it with water, because the water is what's gonna allow it to cook down real good in its own juices, right? So I'd say that's actually perfect right there. I have it on high heat. Just gonna cap that off. I'm gonna put this aside. I'm gonna come back to that in about 6 or 7 hours, and we're gonna have just a juicy pulled pork that just falls apart. In our salsa verde, I'm just gonna be adding some tomatillos and some tomatoes as well, jalapeños, cilantro, and a little bit of onion and garlic, and that is essentially it. Throw a whole head of cilantro in here. Want to make sure we utilize it all. Look at that. Oh, we're gonna be packed, that's for sure. 1 clove of garlic as well. Pop that. I'm not gonna do anything to this. I'm literally just gonna throw it in whole, just like that. Get that mixed up in there. Now we're cooking with gravy. First time I made salsa was whenever I was a kid, actually. My mom always made salsa. She has this chopped salsa that she makes, and everybody knew about it. She's notorious for it, and she taught me how to make that whenever I was probably, I don't know, 7 years old. And since then, it's just been salsa and everything I eat, honestly. Ooh, what 7 hours in a crock pot will do for you. You go to work, put this on before you go into work, you come back after work, you got yourself pulled pork for dinner. That easy. That easy, it literally just falls apart. We're gonna fry these eggs up for the chilaquiles. Let that get going, pull out the eggs here. Whew. Got ourselves some organics. Look at these guys. Woo! Some hot oil right there. Y'all wanna see something? You wanna see something? Check this out. Eddie's $1 million cook-off right here. Got one-handed. Can't beat it. All right, I'm gonna pull these guys off. They are all ready to go. Set them aside. I'm gonna throw these in the pan. These are unsalted as well. Again, you don't need that extra salt, but you do you. This isn't your traditional chilaquiles. This is kind of like my Tex-Mex version that I made up. Check this out, queso fresco. I'm just gonna break this right over the top, essentially crumble it on. Look at that. Traditional chilaquiles, you would actually use radishes on top, but I'm gonna do tomatoes. I just like that flavor a little bit more. Same with the color, I like having that contrast of color in there. That's mainly why I'm doing the tomatoes. All right, we're gonna go ahead and plate this up. So I got the chips on the plate here with that queso fresco and that Mexican cheese. I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with a good hefty amount of pulled pork. Avocado on here, doesn't have to be too pretty. Just get it on there. Throw some cilantro on there, that garnish. Get these tomatoes on here for the color. Get a little bit more of this queso fresco on here as well. All right, now for the sauce. We're gonna get this fresh made salsa verde that we made, as well as this barbecue sauce drizzle. Last but not least, you need your eggs. Lay these right on top. Final sign off, right there.
And that is
And that is Tex-Mex pulled pork chilaquiles.